Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I hope you all enjoyed the beautiful weekend. Today we have Bob Holman to give us our invocation, pledge, and four-way test. I love this microphone. It's high, it's tall. This weekend, in preparation for today, I rediscovered a fairly well quote from Mother Teresa. I find it sits well on my heart, is also challenging. So it will be today's invocation. She says, people are often unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. If you find happiness, people may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give your best anyway. For you see, in the end, it is between you and your higher power. It has never been between you and them anyway. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, all.
Four-way test. Thanks, Bob. And now I would like to ask Aliak, or I guess Paul or Tony's coming up instead. Introduce our visiting Rotarians and guests.
Before I do that, just a commercial announcement. If you haven't placed your ad on the Rotary placemat, please do so soon, because I'm trying to get it done. I'm so tired of working on it. Anyway, all the money supports Rotary Interact, and they do good things in Costa Rica. They do good things for this community. We've got over 37 kids in Interact this year, and probably next year with all the brothers and sisters coming up, we'll have close to 50. So it should be great. Okay, end of commercial. Our guest today, Rachel Inks, please stand. She is a guest of Julie Cotton. Doug Evans is a guest of Andy McCaskey. Our two speakers today are Aubrey Danielson and Pam McGregor. Yeah. And poor guy Andrew Esma is a guest of Scott Puckett.
Okay, if anybody's got announcements, I'd ask you to come front and start forming a line over here. Upcoming events this Saturday, September 24th, we have our bike ride. September 26th will be growing reading programs. Our own Lisa. October 3rd is Chris Russell, rescuing children. October 10th is Chief John Riddle. And then we have a service project that we'll be doing here on October 17th with Ethos.
Thank you for mentioning the bike ride. I just wanted to mention it again. There's a bike ride in memory of Bob Lindahl and Larry Roberts, who both passed away a few years ago of multiple myeloma. We're going to raise money, so if you can ride or if you'd like to donate money or both, please just connect with me if you haven't already done so. We're going to start at the Environmental Center and ride from 10 to 30 miles, depending upon your pleasure. It'll be on either a bike lane, a safe bike lane. Bring your helmet, bring some reflective clothing, and then we'll go down the Maple Heart Trail to connect to the Pumpkin Vine and go as far as an ice cream shop halfway between Goshen and Middlebury. So hopefully this will become an annual event. Starts at 9:30 at the Environmental Center. There will be water available at the 10-mile mark. My wife Claudia will be there handing out bottles of water, and there's a bathroom there. So anyway, but let me know if you're planning to ride or if you'd like to donate money. Thank you.
On your way out, or on your way in, depending, we have those volunteer hours. We are collecting those and reporting them to the district. That helps qualify us for additional funding that we can use for grants and things of that sort. So if we are doing good anyway, as our invocation pointed towards, many of us are involved in many activities and volunteer hours outside of this room, and please document those for us, share them with us so that we might share that with Rotary, our district Rotary and Rotary International. And also, we have about 14 members who have been inducted in the last year. And we have been remiss to have a new member introduction. So that is in the coming soon features. Our very own Terry Rickle and is organizing that. So keep your ears open, those of you who maybe are still looking to find your very own way to maximize your time here and your presence in the club. Terry will be supporting with that very shortly.
All right, then I'd ask Eric to come up front. We have a new member to induct today.
Thank you, Todd. I'll also say for Terry Rickle, just to save her the walk up here, that new member orientation, and I think, did you send that to everyone via email, Terry, or was it just those that were newish? There are orientations coming up next Monday, immediately before at 11:15 and immediately after at 1:15. These meetings. So Terry providing some flexibility there. I hope you can make it. And if you're not a new member and you want to come and refresh on the new stuff, is that all right if others come, Terry? Right? Of course, yeah. Okay, good. I will be there myself. We have a new member. This is always an exciting thing today. I would like to welcome Celeste Vaughn and Susan Bossing, her sponsor, up here to the podium. Stand right over there, and I'm going to point this at you. So it's much more important. There we go, perfect. And Todd is going to get right over there. Nicely done, nicely done. We need like marks on the ground up there, don't we? Celeste, we're very excited that you're interested in membership in the ELKR Rotary Club. And I do, right here. We got some goodies with very good magnets. All right. So membership in any Rotary Club is a privilege, not a right. It's a matter of invitation, not of application. It's a passport to service coupled with a special kind of fellowship. Membership in this Rotary Club also brings responsibilities to be met. We have invited you to join the ELKR Rotary Club because we believe that your presence will enrich our conversations, that your experiences will expand our horizons, and that your energy will help us achieve our goals. We also believe that you will meet the responsibilities of character, attendance, participation, and contribution which combine to improve our club, our community, and our world. Joining this club is not a step to be taken lightly, but rather a serious commitment to others. If you will make that commitment now, please say, I will.
I will.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the ELKR Rotary. You need to got your name badge there, and Susan's going to put that Rotary pin. You'll notice that all Rotarians, all of them are wearing those pins today. It's a finable offense. It's a finable offense to not wear your pin, so we're really glad that you'll be the one who doesn't get fined. And Susan, we would invite you to, we've got a couple plaques here. You can maybe show those for the camera, Todd. We've got the four-way test and the object of Rotary that we hope you will hang in your office space and proudly display your Rotary membership. And we're going to give you a couple minutes to come up and give us a quick introduction of yourself, maybe some things that maybe weren't on the application or that were, and let the members get to know you a little bit before they really get to know you.
Oh, my goodness. What a treat. I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to tell you about me, but I think I'm a little unusual as far as being a part of our community. I grew up on a cotton farm in far west Texas. And believe it or not, that farm is still producing after 80 years. And my sister and I now own it. I'm an older person, and so my parents are deceased. We were blessed, and we're still being blessed to have that. It's south of Lubbock, in case you care. So, and upon graduation from college, I taught school in Arlington, Texas. So that tells you I'm a native Texan so far. I retired after a couple of years and started a family, and I have 4 children who are all gainfully employed and educated, and I'm proud of that. I have my oldest son is a broadcaster in the Independent League Baseball, and he right now is in Kansas City with the Kansas City Monarchs, and in the winter, which is Australia summer, he is there. Then I have a son that you may have met in this community. He's a work-based learning coach, or whatever they call him, at Concord High School. And he also he coaches football, and the craziest thing, he directs the spring musical. And you look at him and you think he should be up there coaching the offensive line instead of people singing, but he's really good at that. My third son lives in Dallas. His wife's a doctor, and he works for a new job for a software company from the United Kingdom. My fourth child, who is the only one that moved up here with us 30 years ago, she is a nurse in Denver, changing her profession after she graduated from Purdue. So that's my family. I am a single adult, and I moved here 32 years ago, kicking and screaming, because the person who was responsible for our funding in the household had a job with Dexter Axel. And so he's deceased, I'm still here. And after 32 years, I don't want to kick and scream anymore. I am a native Texan in my heart, but my passion and my presence in Indiana for 32 years has been most wonderful. This community is amazing. And the older I get, the more I get involved. I have been on the advisory council for Real Services for about 10 years, out of South Bend, that covers 5 counties. Most of you are probably familiar with that. And then I've been president of the board of Council on Aging. This is my 3rd tenure, I think. I get lost in the excitement. So I'm blessed to have had the opportunity to be here and choose to be here at this point in my life. My kids say, why don't you come live with us? Well, I have one kid that's here, so I think I'm okay. My heart will always be Texan, and I'll always be proud. And my source of funding is coming from there, but my source of happiness and being able to impart joy to this community and receiving such joy from this community is my passion for now. And I want to thank Susan for noticing me and inviting me to become a member. Thank you, all of you.
That's great, Celesta. Thank you very much. And I just want to point out, because names are important, that Susan Bossing had sponsored Celesta Vaughn. Celesta, C-E-L-E-S-T-A. Celesta Vaughn. And it's V-A-U-G-H-A-N. Whew, so just remember a couple extra A's. Tallheimer, you get that? A for the day? That's good. All right, good. All right. And from a mass induction that we had a few weeks ago before we took a couple weeks off, we had Jim Snodgrass, who was inducted, and Jim's going to come up and give you a short introduction of himself as well today.
Thank you. Nothing quite as interesting as Celesta. I was born in a small town just north of Baltimore. It's John Wilkes Booth's hometown. That fact is not on the Chamber of Commerce levy anymore. Went to school in Virginia, Virginia Tech. Then 30 years in Chicago, courtesy of the railroad industry. If I'm ever the sergeant, we can explore some railroad trivia. While in Chicago, I picked up an MBA at Northwestern, which apparently is a requirement for sitting at Don Stoller's table, and a law degree. Migrated to location consulting based on my railroad experience, and ended up in New Jersey. The firm there was acquired. So with a severance check in hand, we had been introduced to Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. Hated New Jersey, loved Ponte Vedra Beach. So we went to Ponte Vedra Beach. Bought a franchise. 3 years later, the franchisor went bankrupt. 3.5 years later, we went bankrupt. So based on corporate experience, business ownership, some consulting, I decided I had a lot in common with the aging business owners. So migrated to business brokerage. That took me to Jacksonville, Atlanta, and now South Bend, where I work with Don Cheshire. We're both semi-retired. We work with business owners who are looking for an exit strategy, or individuals or businesses that are looking to expand. I thank Don for introducing me to Rotary. In addition to Rotary, I'm on the City Council in South Bend on the Zoning and Appeals Committee, so I'm used to complaints. That pretty well summarizes it, and I thank you.
It's great to have you both on the club and look forward to getting to know both of you. Today, our sergeant is none other than Mr. Peter Norton.
All right, well, my apologies to our speaker. This is going to take a while.
Hold on. Let me get that.
Yeah, don't get my balls.
There we go. No, we're just moving it down.
And be beautiful when you lie to me. Okay, first to our new members and our guests, nobody's in trouble with the sergeant. This is just a way for us to poke fun at ourselves. We raise a bunch of money, and once a year we give it away to charities. So nobody's in trouble. So as you're being fined, think of it as sort of a blessing from the most important organization ever. So to get started, sitting at my table is Amanda. Amanda, when the sergeant calls on you, you stand up and immediately say, "Yes, your sergeantness." Amanda is a relatively new member. I just met her. She's lovely. I encourage you all to get to know her. So to the club, this is Amanda. Amanda, this is the club. $2 for you and $1 for everybody at the table. Celeste and Jim, when the sergeant calls, you stand up. So, being new members, I get to be the first sergeant to fine you. The maximum fine is $5, so welcome to Rotary, $5. Scott Puckett and Andrew Asma. Andrew's a guest, so of course he doesn't pay fines. And full disclosure, Andrew's on my board. He's a wonderful guy. Frankly, he must know Scott awfully well to sit that far away from him. Scott, you win the award for the distance of a guest. So that's $1 for you. Steve Tallheimer. Yes, for here. Okay, new members, take note. His fine will be much lower. You have some news.
Elkhart High School was recognized for having the most students in the state engaged in a crossing the finish line initiative. So what that meant was over the summer, we had over 100 students, juniors and seniors, to take courses through high school tech in order to earn dual credits to take the college. And for that, we were invited to an excellence education gala. The Department of Education held a week ago Friday, and at that we were recognized with an award and received a grant of $500,000. That's the public dual credit credential teachers and to our early college staff, our director of counseling, Rayford, and all of those counselors who channeled the students who did in there over the summer to either finish their college core degree or
All right. Well, for that public service announcement, that's $2 for you and $1 for everybody at the table. So Rotary is doing things. I don't know about you guys, but did that storm wake you up last night? Yeah. I would love to know the statistics on productivity the day after a big storm and childbirth 9 months later. So just a little public service announcement. If you've ever been awakened by a storm, put $1 in the basket, please. Am I going to be on like sergeant probation? Okay, so right what you know, yesterday I helped my son put a wall up in his basement. And when I got there, they had it framed out and they were trying to set it up and set it into the slot that it would have to go in. And after about 2 hours of grunting and work and some swearing under our breath, we finally decided it wasn't going to work. So we set the thing back down, scratching our heads, looking at it, trying to figure out what happened. Well, it turned out that they cut the studs exactly the size from the floor to the ceiling, but they did not take into account the 2x4 on the bottom and the 2x4 on the top. So 2 hours of trying to knock that darn thing in place was nothing but a waste. So we cut them down, put it back together, and it probably got up in about 30 or 40 minutes. So if you've ever started a project and it didn't go exactly the way you wanted it to the first time, please put $1 in the basket. I'm working on a new tune. I'm learning a new tune called Tequila Sunrise, a classical Eagles tune. It's playable, it's great. It's a song about dealing with life and love. And of course, these guys being artists and writers, They were writing what they knew, they were writing what they saw, and they saw people coming to the places they were playing and got ideas about that. And so, of course, tequila sunrise does kind of mean that somebody must have had a long night and stayed up a little too late. So if you ever stayed up a little too long and had a little too much to drink, please put $1 in the basket. And remember, is it the truth? My wife over the weekend has been kind of caught up in the pageantry of the funeral of Queen Elizabeth. Every once in a while, she'd actually pop into the cameras looking at the procession of people walking through. And one time there was a guy with a chest full of medals, and another time there was somebody that either was a clown or came out of the Austin Powers movie, the way she was dressed. It was just crazy. So if you've been kind of caught up in a little bit of what's been going on with the Royals, please put $1 in the basket. I went to the Notre Dame game on Saturday, and it was a tight game. It was a great game to watch. Notre Dame pulled it out. I've kind of long had the idea that I don't think Notre Dame is the place for somebody to be the head coach of a football team the first time. Nothing against Coach Freeman. He seems like a talented, great guy, but I just feel like they should be attracting people that have this great, history of success. So if you don't remember the Bob Davie era, please put $1 in the basket. Oh, by the way, if you're not a fan of football at all, please put $1 in the basket. I feel like we forget those folks in the fall. And finally, last Thursday was Thirsty Thursday. We had a great gathering at Jackson Rooftop. It was my first time being there. It's a cool place. I highly recommend it. The view is wonderful. The place is cool. We had a nice turnout from Rotary. I've said many times, I've learned more in 15 minutes at a Thirsty Thursday about our fellow Rotarians than I have being in the club with them for 15 years. I mean, I realize not everybody's work schedule allows them to get there, but this is a casual, come and go as you please, once a month gathering. I highly recommend it to you. And if you didn't make it, please put $1 in the basket. Great Rotary Week.
Thanks, Peter. I'm sure myself and the rest of us will never think of a early morning storm the same. I would like to ask Eric to come up front and introduce our speakers for today.
Before I do that, I just want to, especially for the newer members, I want to note that, within that last discussion, we had both the sergeant, we talked about the donations, the fines that you have that go in the table, which, by the way, you can have them taken right out of your, there's a little sheet over there that says bill me. That's the easiest way. It's the least painful. You just grab your box, your packet of 20, and it comes on your bill the next time. You don't even think about it. That's for those in the industry, that's called a fresh wallet. That's one of those things. So yeah, but all those go to local not-for-profits like 5-Star Life. So if you want to get involved in things like that, that is one of those committees that you can be involved in. And if you're a smart ass, you can also be a sergeant. Charmaine Torma got immediately involved in that and was awesome on her first. You were a member like 3 weeks and you did that. It was great. I know. It's good. All right. Thanks, Peter, for doing that. Okay. I'm going to welcome Aubrey Danielson up here. Aubrey is the executive director, a newly appointed executive director. If you might have seen her recently, or if you've seen the listing on our webpage, you had probably seen that she was the director of development, which is how I had her listed on there. She had been the director of development for almost 9 years. And this is the cool part about her bio right here. This organization's been a part of her life since she was 17 years old and volunteered in her first after-school program at Grissom Middle School. Now,
Don't anybody ask her how old she is. That's not one of those things, but you know, there's math that can be applied here.
So Aubrey, come on up, tell us a little more about 5-Star Life, and we're glad to have you.
What is the future of America? Will we as a people rise, or will we fall? Will the core values and ideals America was founded upon, freedom, equality, and the pursuit of happiness, will they survive? Condoleezza Rice says the crisis we face in public education is a threat to the very core of who we are as a nation. It is the civil rights movement of today. Organizations such as the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry and others recently declared a national state of emergency in children's mental health. 3 facts from the research paint a scary picture. The number of kids aged 12 to 17 reporting a major depressive episode doubled over the last decade. The rate of hospital ER visits for kids' deliberate self-harm rose by 329% between 2007 and 2016. And in 2018, suicide became the second leading cause of death for kids, trailing only death by accident.
My name is Seth Moss, president of 5-Star Life, an organization dedicated to changing culture by changing kids' mindsets. And a girl named Liz was one of those kids. She was anxious, depressed, and then suicidal. And at 17, all she wanted was to fall in love. But boys used her pure desire for their own pleasure. They told her they'd love her, told her they'd marry her, but instead they just impregnated her and then abandoned ship. This cycle actually happened 5 times. She gave birth to a son in high school, but chose to abort the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th children. And on the 5th, Liz slipped into this deep depression and made a plan to take her life. She came home to her low-income apartment after work one day and fed, bathed, and for the last time, she rocked her baby boy to sleep. Liz then sat down on her sofa and just began to weep, with a gun in hand, holding to the baby inside of her stomach. But in that moment, a ray of hope in the form of a thought shot from heaven into her mind. What happens to the little boy you just put to bed? What kind of a life will he live, knowing that his daddy didn't want him, and knowing that his mom took her life and his only sibling and left him fatherless? Sobbing, Liz put the gun down and shortly after gave birth to her 2nd son. 5-Star Life is not just some job for me. It's not even a mission. It's very personal because I was that little boy in Liz's womb. And at gunpoint, my mom nearly took both of our lives. Nurses actually encouraged her to abort me because of the overwhelming evidence about fatherless kids. But shortly after, my mom met and married a man who adopted me and my brother. And in one moment, I went from being fatherless to having a father, and it changed the entire trajectory of my life. Welcome back to 5-Star Life Video Curriculum. Coach Seth here to challenge you and coach you to living your 5-star life.
As we launched 5-Star Life, our passion to fight for the fatherless led us to data from the U.S. Department of Education stating 7,000 kids were dropping out of school each day. But in spite of all the negative news, I've never been more hopeful and even confident in the future of America as I am right now, because our team at 5-Star Life has been developing the solution for the kids of America. We started with a handful of kids and it just kept growing and growing. And today we work with tens of thousands of kids each week in public schools, private schools, detention centers, and nonprofit organizations.
Yeah, I love it. That was awesome.
Clinical studies prove that the longer kids were in our programs, the higher their grades rose, the fewer behavior problems they had, and the better their school attendance was. The first school district we worked with had a graduation rate in the 60th percentile when we started. And just a few years ago, they broke into the 90th percentile.
I think if schools are looking for a way to open a door of communication and relationship building with their students, the 5-Star Life is very helpful with that. It's easy to use, it is topically relevant, and it gives us another chance to build those relationships.
I meet kids every year that tell me 5-Star Life literally saved their life. They planned to take their own life, but then 5-Star came in at the very moment they desperately needed it, and everything changed.
As someone who has a background in education and as someone who recognizes the problems that students are facing, I can see how this is the solution. 5-Star Life curriculum is the solution to helping these students grow and change and become the best version of who they are.
Now that's good news. Just think about what would happen if schools, youth sports programs, not-for-profits, and detention centers across America would adopt our model. We could change culture, and changing culture is the very core of our mission.
I learned how to respect others and treat people how they want to be treated.
Ooh, that's a 5-star definition of respect, right? Treating others the way you want to be treated.
In order to change America's culture, you have to affect each individual. And central to every person's success or failure is an operating system that determines how we look at ourselves. It determines how we treat the person on our right and our left, the size of our dreams, our goals, our work ethic, and our values. And research refers to this operating system as a mindset.
When you say you're pleased with it, talk a little about the impact you see it having.
Sure. So our students have definitely learned more of our core values of kindness, pride, and awareness. Every chance we get, we pull your values into that, fits perfectly. They use a lot of the skills in their daily lives. We've seen growth, tremendous growth this year, not only academically, but also social emotionally. We've done some indicators and things, and it's just really made a difference.
Awesome.
5-Star Life is on a mission to change the face of culture by targeting students' operating system, their mindset. Our nation is overloaded with programs that do good things, but they fail to address the most important thing. There's an old adage that says you can address hunger one of two ways. You can feed them fish dinner so they can eat today, or you can teach them how to fish so they can feed themselves for a lifetime. When you address a kid's mindset, in essence, you're teaching and empowering them to use their greatest asset to create the life of their dreams. So, since 2005, we began developing curriculums and programs that target their mindset. The combination of our proprietary curriculum, experiential learning at our own 350-acre training center, and professionally trained 5-Star Life staff who specialize in creating an environment where healthy relationships can grow is considered by research to be a high-end, best practice model of impact.
What is the future of America? Just imagine what our nation and world would look like if every kid in every community, in every school, in every street, every apartment complex had this opportunity. Our 5-Star Life message is simple. We now have the solution, and together we can give every kid in America the opportunity to develop their mindset and become everything they're destined to be. You can bring 5-Star Life to your home, to your club, your school, organization, community, or region. Go to 5starlife.org to learn more. The time is now, and the solution is here.
Aubrey, take it away.
So this is actually the first time we've shown that video to the public, so I hope you enjoyed it. Seth has worked on it for about 2 years now. So for anyone that was wondering or panicking, Seth is not going anywhere. Me being executive director, he is our board president. Through this transition, he's able to focus on our video curriculum and our national expansion, and then all the big picture pieces out at Summit. In this new role, I'll continue to work internally with our staff, operations, programs, volunteers, community partners, and I'm very, very grateful for his trust. I've been able to shadow him since I was 16 years old. We randomly got paired together at a Granger Community Church camp. He was my co-counselor, and the rest is history. I'm just grateful that he's entrusted me with this responsibility. As you can see from the video, the future has never been brighter for 5-star. Our video curriculum is growing exponentially throughout the country as school districts, principals, politicians, they're bringing us to the table because we have the solution. And I'm also excited to share with you some of the amazing things that we're doing in the community. We launched a new program with the St. Joseph Juvenile Justice Center called the SNAP program. And through this program, we're working with kids that are on the verge of entering into the system. So they're literally right on the edge of jail through their status offenses, and this is their last chance. So each week, we meet with these kids and their families. We walk through the curriculum, and the results have been incredible. We got a grant from the city of South Bend to implement this program, and so we just finished our first cohort, and here's some of the answers, which has been wonderful. We asked them if it's helping their relationships, and some of the parents and kids said, "We're getting along so much better. Every single day is better and better. Our relationships have improved tremendously, and we're communicating more because of it." One kid said, "I talk to my mom more, and I've learned how to be a better listener." And then another child said, "We stopped yelling at each other, and now we talk to each other instead." These kids, they now have a vision for their lives. They don't want to go to jail, and now they have tools to keep them out of jail. Currently, our curriculum is implemented in the ELKR Juvenile Detention Center, but Seth is having conversations with Elkhart schools and the magistrate about starting a SNAP program there as well. And we believe this will be a game changer for the JDC. Another program we have is our 5-Star Life basketball program. It is the largest travel basketball team in Northern Indiana. This year alone, we'll have between 30 and 40 teams. And just in the last year, 37 of our players were offered to play basketball at a collegiate level. If you have a student athlete, visit our website to learn more about our teams and clinics. We are year-round. We always have programs going on. In July of last year, we opened an early learning center for children's ages 2 to 5. With our curriculum focused there, we're not just changing mindsets, we're creating healthy mindsets for these little ones. As you can see, we're also doing big things up at Summit. It actually is 370 acres now, not 350. We're just up the road in Union, Michigan, so about 15 minutes from here. There, we infuse our core values of respect, responsibility, integrity, sacrifice, and courage, and life skills into every experiential learning activity out there. Some of our activities include team building with a ropes course and rock wall, horsemanship courses, horseback riding lessons, farm experiences. We have nature activities like boating, fishing, hiking, gardening, birds of prey, anatomy, and biology. We actually have a small elk herd that will be joining our property in January so that kids can learn about them and experience an animal that they've most likely never seen in real life before. We have skilled activities like archery, hatchet throwing, and blacksmithing. And we're also offering courses that center around the arts and storytelling. Our goal with all of these incredible experiences is to introduce them to our values and teach them how to develop a healthy and positive mindset. And it's also to help them develop these hard skills earlier on, as opposed to in high school. So by allowing them to experience all of these things early on, we're helping them find a purpose and a path for their lives. We want to bring kids to Summit year-round, not just once or twice a year on a field trip. We recently received a grant to bring solar panels to our equine barn so that even in the dead of winter, we'll be able to heat up our barn to, a warm 40 degrees. And they'll be able to have our lessons and programs year-round. We're also in the final stages of completing our life building. This is our first climate-controlled building capable of housing a couple of hundred students at a time, so they can take part in our programs no matter the weather. We are launching after-school programs to bring kids to Summit during the school year. As many of you know, if you're in education, you know that our biggest struggle is transportation. We have the buses, we don't have the drivers. But we all know how important it is in this day and age to get kids away from their cell phones, get them away from their screens, and get them outside. So for us, we have to make this a priority, and it's something that we're determined to work out because our kids are just too important. If our organization sounds like something you might want to be a part of, I encourage you to come out and take a tour of Summit so you can see firsthand what we do. And then you might be able to, get your juices flowing and figure out, well, these are some of my passions. How can I bring my passion to 5-star? 4 years ago, Dr. Larry and Patricia Knight, they came to visit Summit. And we had a simple vision. We wanted to plant a garden, just a simple garden, nothing too extreme. But if you've seen Hope Garden recently, you'll know that their vision wasn't simple or small. What they've done in our garden is, it's honestly indescribable. You have to see it. They've created such a special place for kids to learn all about plants, flowers, koi fish, butterflies, birds of prey, their ecosystems, and all about environmental stewardship. It's a place of peace and hope. So I hope you'll take some time over the next month to come out and see it for yourself while the weather's still nice. Once you take a tour of Summit and you see all that we're doing, I encourage you to think about how you might want to be involved. Our blacksmithing program came to be because one of our supporters wanted to offer his special skills to kids. And we just had our 4th training for all of our volunteers. So now blacksmithing will be part of our rotations at Summit. Hope Garden is here because of the Knights and their dedication. They need volunteers. So if that's something of interest to you, if you love gardening, you love being outdoors, we need you to help their vision continue. Find Dr. Knight or myself after, and we can walk you through the volunteer process. Our Birds of Prey program is taking place because someone about a year ago put a hawk on my arm, a literal red-tailed hawk on my arm, and I wanted to bring that unique experience to kids. Now, if you want to learn about overcoming fears and building up your courage quickly, just put an apex predator right on your arm and it'll expedite the process. You'll build up a lot of courage there. Seth has told me for years and years about the power of just saying yes. He said that it could change your whole life if you would just be willing to answer the call and say yes. I hope that you'll say yes to 5-Star Life and the kids that we serve. I'm really appreciative that you gave me time to come up here and talk about an organization that literally has shaped who I am. I would not be who I am today if I didn't have 5-Star in my life when I was 17 years old, right when we started. Thank you. I'll stick around after if anyone wants to connect and learn more about our programming. We need volunteers. We need people to come out. We have 4 full-time staff members to run 370 acres. So we rely on the community. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time. If anyone has any questions, I can take them now. Anyone has any? Yes.
How does this program keep with, match up to, interact with the Boys and Girls Club?
I love that question. He asked if, does our organization compete with an organization like Boys and Girls Club? I love that question because the answer is no, we don't compete with each other. We actually collaborate together. This is our 2nd summer. We just finished our 2nd summer of the Boys and Girls Club of St. Joe County busing their kids out twice a week for the entire summer. So we had about anywhere from 800 to 1,000 kids a week on our campus. Same thing with ELKR Parks. We partnered with ELKR Schools and the ELKR Parks Department, and they did the same thing. So, I would say the pandemic and COVID really had us think about, maybe they were considered competitors a few years ago, but once, we had a chance to process, we decided, let's partner together because the Boys and Girls Club strengths might not be our strengths, but our strengths might not be the Boys and Girls Club strengths. So let's get together because it's all about kids. It's all about giving them great experiences. So we love working with our community partners.
What is your budget? What is the source of your funding?
So we make he asked what our budget was and the source of our funding. So we do a lot with a little. Our funding, it's very much grassroots. We have this very small 2-person grants team. We write grants. We have several fundraising events throughout the year. We had a golf open that we just had a few weeks ago. It was our best golf open ever. We also have a radiothon in the spring, and then we'll do some smaller fundraising events out at Summit as well. So we just had a beautiful Hope Garden event. I believe that was back in July. So individual donations, we have a small development team. Our budget is not very big, but we make do with what we have. And we have our team up at Summit. We have one person that is basically our builder, our plumber, our electrician. And so we're able to do a lot with what we have.
You provided us with a lot of information. I'm confused. What's your overall mission?
Our mission is to change culture by changing kids' mindsets. And so we do that through our curriculum that's implemented in schools across the country, in the juvenile justice centers, with some of our community partners. And so we do that. And then we also have our programming out at Summit. We have our basketball team, but everything, all of our programs, the core of it is our curriculum. The core of it is teaching kids life skills and teaching them our core values.
You mentioned videos that are available to principals.
Sure. So Dr. Knight was saying to mention about the videos that we have available to principals throughout the country. So yes, our video curriculum, we wanted a common language. Principals were coming to us saying, we love what you do, because we started as an after-school program. That was really what we started as in 2005. But principals said, we love what you do for 15 to 20% of our student population that can come to your after-school program, but how can we get 5-Star Life's message to the whole school? So we developed this video curriculum so that there was one common message. And so schools, when they implement our curriculum, depending on what time of day or the students they want to serve, these videos are implemented in the school day. They watch a video, they have a small group of people that they are able to process with. They journal what they heard, and then there's an action step where they will actually have a challenge that they are to go out and complete throughout the week. And then they report back on if they completed the challenge the next week.
It's not paid.
No, we have a series of videos that a school will purchase, and then it's usually a 8-week series that they'll go through. But schools have, once they purchase our curriculum, they have 24 weeks worth of videos to get them through a fall, winter, and spring session. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We thank you. And my 2 younger brothers used to work there when it was Camp Bellawood in the 90s. So I know where you're at. If there's nothing else, meeting adjourned.